I want to talk to you about, we've kind of covered the smart cubes, I suppose, but here's the deal, okay? You went to the Gan retail store, which we'll talk about in a minute, and the Gan factory, and you got your gross little hands on some very exciting stuff, hey?
Yeah.
Tell us about the Gan Squan, because you have used it, right? You have used it, you have turned it, you've had a peek inside, and you've had a look at its potentially what's going on inside there. And more importantly, nobody told you not to talk about it. So,
no one told me not to talk about it. So
let's go.
Yeah.
So give us the details.
We were leaving the factory, and there was just like a few of us. We kind of broke off from the main group, and we were looking around like I think it was the engineering department. And we had a chat with like the head of engineering and whatnot. And then we're like, oh wait, where's Rohan gone? And we'd lost track of him. Anyway, he'd wandered off and found himself a Gan Squan and was having a play with that. So he comes back, I'm like, oh, that's the Gan Squan. So I give it a turn. That's when I send you the photo, and I'm like, Gan Squan.
Yeah.
So we have a little bit of a play with it, and I'm like, oh, this is good. It just felt like a good MGC, like a really strong MGC. Then I think it kind of did the rounds. Like this one Gan Squan that we kind of yoinked from the factory was just doing the rounds, and it ended up in Boffan's hands, and he can't really, I don't think he could even solve a square one. But then I've got a clip of me going up to Bofan. I'm like, hey Bofan, what do you think of the cube? What do you think of the square one? And he's like, it's hard. And then I go, do you like the cube? And he looks at the camera and goes, no. So that's pretty funny, but no, it's really good. I have no idea when it's coming out.
No.
There was just one Gan Squan going around the place. I kind of tempted to steal it, but I didn't have the balls.
Yeah. I wouldn't mess with China. It's not the place to muck around. So I got I connected with someone on Reddit who sent me a bunch of screenshots of some just hectic messages they were sending to someone who has the Gan Square one. And it looks like, from what I can tell from these messages, which I might publish once I need to go through and censor them and everything like that, but essentially what it boils down to is that they, at one stage, had a Gan 14-like adjustment system. But they have now, at some point in the prototype process, they've ditched that, and it is maglev with a screw. That is my understanding from these messages that I've seen.
That's not what I saw.
It's not?
I saw like an adjustment system.
Well,
I'm not sure which one it is. I think it's like the new one. But yeah, I did see an adjustment system.
Did you? Okay, that's really interesting. Did you see adjustable magnets?
No, I don't remember seeing that.
No. Okay.
But let me just. The adjustment system was. I did not steal one, but the adjustment system was like this one.
Right. Okay. This is big reveals. Okay. Cool. So we have an actual GES adjustment system in the one that you saw anyway. Which is interesting because whoever the person is that I got these messages from, the person claiming to have the Gan Square one, said that it was one of those, but that they had changed it back to a maglev with a screw. So maybe there's different versions.
Maybe.
But it's interesting that the one you had in your hands less than a week ago had that adjustment system. This has been one of my favorite cubes to chase down the rabbit hole because that every single time we find out something about it, it's immediately contradicted by someone else, which is great. The one you had was frosted. It wasn't UV.
That might be correct. I can't
It looked
remember.
Frosted in the picture.
Okay, yeah.
But that's not to say anything because they bring out different versions of all these things anyway.
Yeah.
So that was at the factory. That wasn't at the retail store.
Yes,
They're not
correct.
letting you play with that at the retail store yet.
Yeah.
Okay. So all right, let's just summarize because I got to clip all these into videos. You know how it is. I got to get those clicks. So the Gan Square one. What have we learned from Chris Mill's trip to China? The one that you played with. Let's be clear. The one that you used at the factory. We don't know what stage of prototyping that is necessarily, but it had a GES system, which to your eye looked similar to the Gan 14.
Yeah.
It didn't have adjustable magnets, as far as you can remember.
Yeah.
And it felt pretty good by your...
Yeah, it turned good.
Did it have a Gan feel? Can a Square one have a Gan feel?
Not really.
Okay, that's interesting.
Like you probably could have slapped like an MGC logo on it and convinced me it was just a good MGC. If I didn't take a look at the guts.
Yeah, okay. It had a Gan look to it. I don't know how to explain it, but the corners of the pieces had a Gan look to them, I think, in my opinion anyway, for sure. And it had that frosty Gan that we've all kind of learned to expect. Okay, cool. So that was our first bit of hardware goss from the factory.